There is a parable that says, pride comes before a fall. Princess ZIgarachi was a typical example of that saying. Dear watcher, sit and grab your popcorn while I take you on this lovely journey. Once upon a time, in the village of Umunke, there lived a very proud and rude princess whose name was ZIgarachi. ZIgarachi was a very beautiful princess. She was adored and worshipped. ZIgarachi was the only child of her parents, and this made her more proud. All the bad traits life had to offer, it seemed like ZIgarachi took the front line to claim most of it. She was so ill-mannered. She was a spoiled brat who would ask her father for anything, and before the blink of an eye, it would be granted. But Princess ZIgarachi was indeed beautiful, and this gave her more pride. All the village maidens wished to be beautiful as her. She had everything on the aspect of appearance. She had a nice figure, long hair. She had a very nice complexion, which made her stand out amongst crowd. She was so beautiful that any man would kill to have her. They had never seen such beauty before. She even had nicknames which the villagers called her because of her beauty. Everybody worshipped her, even her father. ZIgarachi was so beautiful that suitors trooped in and out of the palace to ask for her hand in marriage. Even the son of the most wealthy royal family, Prince Emeka, asked for her hand in marriage, but she refused, and this troubled her parents. ZIgarachi, why don't you want a suitor? Queried her father in a worried and yet soft tune. Father, I don't want to get married now, said ZIgarachi. You know you won't be beautiful like this for the rest of your life. This is your prime, and you are like a flower. By evening it withers, day by day, said her mother. Oh mother, please. I am the fairest of them all. I can never get old. I am so beautiful. I am waiting for my heartbeat, and none of them, I repeat, none of them qualifies that category. ZIgarachi retorted in an aggressive and rude manner. As ZIgarachi retorted, she walked away, her mother yelling at her to come back, but she ignored her. This upsetted her mother. She just wished ZIgarachi could understand the saying that says, pride goes before a fall. Her father pleaded that she should let her be. Besides, she was the apple of his eyes and could do anything for her. As ZIgarachi went out, she proceeded to the stream. On getting there, as soon as the people in the stream saw her, they took to their heels. The guards shouted, but there was still one girl limping in pains. As the guard saw her, he shouted again, run as fast as you can here. On seeing this, Adama tried to run, but she fell, and she started crying. Princess ZIgarachi, on seeing this, took the cane from the guard and proceeded to where the girl was. On getting there, she flogged her mercilessly. Adama tried to speak, but ZIgarachi shouted in terror with anger in her eyes, now, run. Adama trickled out, with tears all over her face. On getting home, the villagers and her parents screamed on the painful bruises ZIgarachi put on her body. They could not do anything. They were nobody in the society. The senior chief once had an issue with the princess. The princess still won the case, so what was the need to fight over spilled milk? They said that they took their daughter inside. The villagers felt so sorry for Adama, but could not do anything. One time, an incident like this occurred. The parents of the girl marched with tears in their eyes to the palace. When they got there, the princess ordered her guards to flog even times 2 of the flogging they gave to their daughter. So no, this case was a closed case. The troubling character of the princess continued, and no one could stop her. One day, while Princess ZIgarachi was strolling around the village, she saw a very beautiful girl She wondered and thought to herself, why does the girl look beautiful? How? When? I thought I was the fairest. As she walked past the girl, she looked bitter. The girl prostrated to greet her, but ZIgarachi insisted she knelt down. When the girl had greeted her, Princess ZIgarachi asked her who her parents were. The girl answered. ZIgarachi nodded and asked her to go. When Adire got home, she saw her parents and their belongings thrown outside. She wondered what happened. When she asked her parents, they said the king ordered them to leave the kingdom for no reason. They had no place to go. They begged and cried. They decided to go to the palace. When they got there, the king was not even aware. When he asked the princess, she said Adire passed and she did not greet her. And when she asked why, Adire gave her a dirty slap. The king was blinded for the love he had for his daughter. He agreed and ordered the guards to chase them out. They begged and cried for mercy as they were being chased out. Princess ZIgarachi ordered them to wait. She told them they could stay under one condition, that if only Adire would cut her hair and become her slave. Her parents, even Adire, swiftly agreed. ZIgarachi laughed hysterically as she walked past them. Everybody feared ZIgarachi, even her father. People called her the beautiful demon, which was only said indoors, not to be heard anywhere. If not, ZIgarachi would devour that person. ZIgarachi's mother, the queen, continued to correct her, but Princess ZIgarachi paid deaf ears. One night, while ZIgarachi was inside her chambers, her mother decided to go see her. When her mother went there, Princess ZIgarachi told the guards to tell her she did not want to see her. ZIgarachi's mother pleaded that she wanted to tell her something urgent, but still she refused. Her mother, the queen, had no choice but to go back. ZIgarachi's pride was up to the cliff. The next morning was a wish day. Princess ZIgarachi had a wish day, which happened annually. The villagers used to come, but they never did again after Princess ZIgarachi started requesting for evil quests. So it turned to a royal occasion where the king and his wives used to gather to hear her quests. But this time, she quested for the unbelievable. ZIgarachi's quest was no return. Whenever she wished for something, her father the king never dared to say no. So many royal family, including his wives, had begged him to stop that ceremony, but he never listened. The day finally came. Princess ZIgarachi requested the full village attended for them to see her quest, but the villagers ignored, but they were forced to come. The moment finally came as the king spoke. My fairest, the most beautiful, may you quest your wish. His father spoke in a joyous tone. Princess ZIgarachi smiled and looked in a mischievous way and finally spoke. I want the throne. The villagers shouted,
What? Gods of our land! Land of our gods!
The villagers stood in shock. His father laughed and said, my people, she wants the throne of my wife. You know she loves me so much. She wants to be with her father always. The king said. But Princess ZIgarachi laughed and said, no, I want your throne. This very one you are on. On hearing this, his jaw dropped in bewilderment. Please, my daughter, reconsider this quest, he said in a pleading tone. My beloved father, just for 3 days, ZIgarachi said. The villagers, on hearing what was happening, whispered to themselves. The chiefs said it was an abomination. Alu. They all shouted as they asked the king what was his decision. But to their greatest shock, the king agreed, but a great sacrifice would be done to please the gods. The villagers laughed. At least it was not on them this time. It was on her father, the king. All the sacrifices were made, and Princess ZIgarachi was crowned the king for 3 days. The first day of her tenure began, as she instructed the villagers to bring all their daughters. The guests were instructed to cut their hair. After that, she removed some chiefs. The village was in great shock. The princess ruled the kingdom with such pride and arrogance. She had no respect whatsoever for anybody. not even her parents. She ordered the guards to bring in all the harvests the villagers had made to her chambers and decided to sell all of them. The 3 days Princess ZIgarachi ruled the kingdom was chaotic and chaotic. Everybody feared for their lives. Nobody was allowed to go to the stream nor the farm. The villagers were so angry and they all prayed for the 3 days to elapse. The 3 days finally elapsed and she was back to being the princess. The morning of it, she dressed in her princess attire as she decided to stroll around the village. On her way, she saw a very old lady who was looking very old. She looked sick and weak. Princess ZIgarachi stared at the old woman with her bent back as she passed her. The next thing was to shout, "Old witch, didn't you see me?" questioned Princess ZIgarachi. The old woman weakly turned around and said, "I saw you, ZIgarachi." This statement infuriated ZIgarachi as she walked to the old woman and gave her the slap of her life. The woman laughed and smiled. "ZIgarachi, I bet you when you were little. I told you stories when you were little." The old woman's name was Nanabumi. She was once a nanny in the royal home. Princess ZIgarachi gnashed her teeth in disgust as she took the stick from one of her guards and landed it on the old woman's back. She stroked her as she kept saying this, "I am the fairest of them all, the most beautiful and the only daughter of my father. I am the most graceful, so no one dares disrespect me." The old woman grinned in pain as she fell on the ground. Princess ZIgarachi shouted at the old woman's ear, "I am the most beautiful, graceful, talented and luckiest than your entire generation can ever be." The loudness of this speech could be heard from afar. It was so loud that Nanabumi covered her ears in pains, tears rolling down her cheeks as she struggled to speak. "ZIgarachi, ZIgarachi, ZIgarachi," she called her name 3 times in pain and anger. "You call yourself the most beautiful. I can see that is what makes you feel on top of this world. You will lose that which makes you mean and mannerless." Nanabumi angrily stood up, with tears in her eyes. "You are cursed." Princess ZIgarachi was so irritated as she took sand and splashed it all over Nanabumi's body. As she said, "You can rave for all I care. I was ordained to be this beautiful and nobody, not even you witch, can come across that." She proudly spitted as she walked out of the place with great pride and arrogance. Princess ZIgarachi forced ahead to the palace. On getting there, her mother was standing on the front door of her chambers. Princess ZIgarachi grinned and whispered to herself, "Today has just been filled with unlucky people." "What do you want, mother?" Her mother spoke hurriedly. "I had a dream, a very disturbing one at that." "Oh, please, I don't want to hear it," ZIgarachi retorted. "It's about you, and what makes you think I believe dreams?" "Take this woman out of here," she ordered. "God knows I have tried," her mother, the queen, said as she walked out solemnly. Inside her chambers, Princess ZIgarachi ordered the maid to remove her accessories. After that, she slept. The foul crow was heard 3 times. It was finally done. As she opened her eyes, she quickly stood up. As she was very late for her breakfast, she quickly went to the mirror, and to her greatest shock, her face had changed. She screamed in horror as she could not believe her eyes. She washed her face countless times, but this was her reality. Her scream alerted the royal household, and in less than a minute, her room was filled with maids and even her parents. They were shocked to see what had become of her. Her face had changed, even her skin. She had this dark spot all over her body. Her face looked like a masquerade. Overnight, she just turned to the ugliest. This news skyrocketed around the village. The villagers laughed in secret and rejoiced for the downfall and the fiasco of the princess. So-called fairest amongst them all, different families prepared their special delicacies for them to celebrate. Truly, the lion has been killed. Princess ZIgarachi was so shocked to speak. After that scream, she could not speak nor eat because of the shock. They sought for different medicine men to give her a beauty potion, but no one worked. But one of the medicine men said she offended somebody, The person's cry alerted and annoyed the beauty god to remove her beauty. The question was now, who she offended? Because Princess ZIgarachi had literally offended everybody in the village. But Princess ZIgarachi knew who was behind her fate. She quickly dressed and covered her face and her body to avoid notice as she headed for Nanabomi's home.
This is just the beginning of how ZIgarachi went from being the highest to the rock bottom. Part 2 will be uploaded very soon. Stay tuned to find out if ZIgarachi will ever be free from despair. What will become of her? What happened to Nanabomi? All of these questions will be seen in part 2.
If you have watched up to this interesting moment, please kindly subscribe, like and share this story. And if you want to learn how to tell stories like this, kindly comment interesting in the comment section to get started.